MT family, welcome back to my channel. For those that are here for the first time, welcome. I'm Mr. Tandoh. This is the Mr. Tandoh Show, where we have unfiltered conversation with fun and games with some amazing artists. Now today on our first episode at home, I have an amazing young lady. She has grown in the industry of hosting and presenting for such a long time. She's a radio presenter on CAPITAL XTRA, and she's toured around the world presenting and doing everything she loves. She is full of energy. She's just bubbly, and trust me, you are gonna love her. If the studio crew are here, they'll be making some noise, but at home, please help me welcome the lovely Remel London.
I'm Remel London, and as always, we are live from London. Daniel, I am so happy to be able to speak to you. Right, Queen and Slim. Yeah. It seems like you guys have really good relationships with a lot of other artists. Are there any particular ones that you're like, we need to get them in the studio, we need to get them on the track? Tell me why. Oh, wow.
Oh, you went up and then came really down.
I am actually very, very sorry that you had to do that.
How are you, Remel?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm well. This is like the first time we've done it like this at home. And it's a bit sad because I really wanted you to come down to the studio and like see the yellow, well, not yellow, it was green, but you know what I mean? The post-production makes it yellow, but I really wanted, but the same way, we've got you here and it's really good. So thank you very much. How have you been?
Yeah, I'm good, man. And I gotta say, I do love your show. I do love the production. It looks amazing. It's strong, it's fun, it's personable. So yeah, I couldn't say no. Obviously, I did say no when when the opportunity. No, do you know what it was? Like, I'm very cautious about COVID at the minute because I caught it last year. Oh, no. And I caught it while being in a studio. And that's why now I'm just like, yo, unless we're sending COVID tests and all that kind of stuff, like I'm kind of going to be a bit more hesitant. But no, I really wanted to be on your show. So thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. And talking of COVID, how have you sort of been through this process? Because work for you is probably not the same. Or I'm sure you're doing a lot from home, but it's not as you were in front of cameras, in fancy studios. You're kind of doing everything from the comfort of your own home.
Literally, yeah, like everything. The only place I do get to go is radio, which is a blessing. Like, I'm so grateful that I get to go in the studio because I've seen other broadcasters doing radio from home. It does not look fun. Like, you know, I'm talking 3 hours sitting in a cupboard or wardrobe under a duvet. Like, I haven't had to do that. I've been doing it for like voiceovers and stuff, but like, I can't imagine doing a radio show at home. That's just strange. Like, so I'm grateful that we get to go in the studio for that, but I'm definitely missing live events. Like, I'm a host. Like, I love doing live, everything live. So that's kind of like a real bummer that I don't get to, you know, have a crowd. And then there's TV. Like, I get to, you know, run around studios, but I'm not, it's stopped.
Back to the living room, that's the only running they're going to be doing.
No,
right?
My kitchen and living room are open. They're the same.
I was just to stretch the hand, open the fridge, and that's it.
There's not much distance, so it's not even like, I mean, yeah, it's decent size, but...
Of course. Yeah. You know, I'm glad you said that though, that you actually get time to go to the studio for radio, because looking at your Insta, you have way too much fun. I'm starting to think, is this work? Is this fun? I don't actually really understand, but you know, it seems good. So thank you very much for coming onto the Mr. Tandoh Show. We like to mix some good unfiltered conversations with some games. So at some point, we're gonna get a bit of that. But for those that do not know who Remel London is, who is Remel London and where did it all start for you?
Yeah, well, it pretty much started when I got to uni because I studied broadcast journalism. I knew straight away that I wanted to do TV and radio, specifically being a presenter. So I studied broadcast journalism, and that's very news-based. So I basically, I didn't fail uni, like I passed in it. But
it's all right.
We won't talk about the actual grade, but basically, I kept on getting lower marks because I was doing the opposite of what my lecturers were telling me to do. So they kept on saying, you know, we want to hear some hard news journalism. And I was like, I'm taking the camera and I'm going to film an event. And like, I'm going to take the camera. Like, I used to film DJs. I used to interview music artists, and they were like, yo, we don't do this on this course. And I was like, that this is what I want to do. Like, so I used uni as an excuse to just have the equipment and try it all out. And they were like, no, baby, that's not what you're here for. And I was just like, well, I'm going to make this work. Yeah. So I kind of was a bit of a rebel at uni. And I used to be a big part of like the music kind of culture. I was on the Afro-Caribbean Society. I was the vice president. So we used to throw events all the time. I became a live host. Well, the best thing, I was a rave host.
Okay.
So basically, every Friday in the club, I met all the DJs and they basically said, yo, jump on mic. And I was like, yo, I'm not an MC, you know, like.
Well, the birthday crew make some noise.
But that's what I was doing, basically. So that's kind of where I figured out, like, I love seeing a crowd. I love getting that call and response. Oli, oli, oli. Like, I loved all of that. So that's when I kind of really came alive. And I was almost, because every time I came back to London, I'd hear about new music and then I'd tell my DJ friends in Leeds, I'd be like, yo, you lot need to be onto this one, da, 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 da. And everyone was just like, yeah, Remel's like the London Connect. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, cool. So, and I was always talking about London. So it just became the London girl. And, you know, I changed my name on Facebook to Remel London. Everyone called me Miss London, Miss London. And when I came back to London, I was like, cool, this is it. This is my presenter name. Let's go with that. And it kind of tied into everything I was doing anyway, because as soon as I got back to London, I was at every live music event. I was interviewing people. I got to host live music events as well. So especially that there was a period of time where like Shoreditch was popping and like all the venues, all the events were in Shoreditch. So I just felt like, you know, I was proper living and breathing that kind of London culture that was bubbling. So Remel London still stuck and made sense. So I just rolled with it. And yeah, from there, people just kind of understood what I was about. Like, I love music. I love the culture. I love live events. So I got booked. And it progressively became part of my brand, which was beautiful.
Now, right?
Yeah, it's a big part of it.
Yeah. Now, obviously, where you started sort of in the raves, like, oli, 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 did you ever think that you would get to sort of where you are now? Was that always the plan? Or over time, did it kind of just become that?
No, like I knew as soon as, like I knew by choosing the course that I wanted, that was my opportunity to tailor make my dream of being a TV and radio presenter. So like even when I was at uni, like I had a radio show, I was on student radio, I was on pirate radio, like I was building towards having a radio career. So I just knew I had to start putting it all in practice at that time. And yeah, but it was very organic. Like I never forced anything. Like the connections I made, the friends and relationships I made were just very natural, and people wanted to help me and I wanted to be a part of what everyone was doing as well. So it definitely helped.
Nice. And since then, what would you say some of your proudest moments have been? Where have you kind of stood on stages and thought, oh my God, and you're pinching yourself, you're like, Remel, you're actually standing here. What would you say is some of your proudest or biggest moments in your opinion?
Yeah, getting my Capital Extra show was massive for me because I grew up listening to Trace FM and I basically learned how to be a presenter listening to Trace FM. So the fact that I'm in the same studio as all the other presenters that came before me and I looked up to was incredible. And so yeah, that was amazing. And I also used to do work experience at Trace FM. So to go from like actually being that kid who was just in there watching to then actually having my own show, my name's on it, like that was great, crazy. And then I got to say, like, you know, I love hosting events and I've had a few amazing opportunities that I've been able to, you know, tell my family and then they can be proud of me. So like, sometimes it's just things like, you know, for example, I hosted Mr. and Mrs. Nigeria UK. And, you know, that was the first time I could tell my Nigerian grandparents, look, I'm representing for what I am. And they were like, oh, amazing. Can we come? And I was like,
what did you say?
Huh?
You said Nigerian grandparents?
Yeah.
Oh, you have Nigerian in you?
Yeah. I'm half Nigerian. So that was, being able to say that to my grandparents was amazing. And then on the flip side, hosting Notting Hill Carnival, the first virtual carnival ever, for my Caribbean side, telling all my aunts and telling my mom, it's like, oh yeah, like I was definitely representing for my cultures in those senses. So that's always nice to be able to say that. But also I hosted a very, what people would think would be unconventional for me. I hosted for 2 years, an event called Music for Youth Proms, which was at the Royal Albert Hall. This is a 5,000 capacity venue. And I'll be honest with you, it's a very white environment. And most of the audience, most of the parents, they were all like, you know, people that were there to see their children who were in an orchestra. And it's like, I'm the host of that. So the fact that I can host at the Royal Albert Hall was an absolute honor. And I did it for 2 years in a row. So I gotta say, Capital Extra, being a host and representing my culture, and then being a big boy, bad man host at the Royal Albert Hall. Yeah, they're my highlights.
Oh, Remel, I'm getting a phone call.
Okay.
That time. Sir. Okay. Remel, it's time. It's time for Tandoh Trivia. You ready for this one?
Yeah, sure.
So, Remel, you're going to have 45 seconds on the clock. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. There's going to be multiple choice, A, B, or C. If you know the answer, you don't need to hear all the options. You can just give me the answer. But if you want to hear all of it, I'll give you all three. Yeah? 45 seconds for the whole thing. You ready?
Let's go.
All right, Remel, your time starts. You don't look nervous. Everyone's always quite nervous. You're just like, this is easy. I got this. All right.
If I don't say anything in the whole 45 seconds, then it's over, isn't it?
No, you'll be good. You'll be good. All right. Your time starts now. In Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, what is Jeffrey's last name? A. Thomas, B. Butler, or C. Prince?
Oh, he's always referred to as Jeffrey Butler.
Correct. How many colors are there in the rainbow? A6, B8, or C7?
7.
Correct. Who was the female or the first female presenter on Big Brother? A. Emma Willis, B. Davina McCall, or C. Fern Cotton?
Oh, Davina McCall.
Correct. What is the missing word? Pretty like Lupita when the something close in. A. People, B. Media, or C. Camera?
Camera.
Correct. In what location did Trace FM, now Capital Extra, start? A. Hackney, B. Brixton, or C. Peckham?
Brixton.
Correct. And your time is up.
Yo, I can't lie.
Yeah.
The rainbow one, I guessed.
Oh, really?
Completely guessed.
Have you not seen a rainbow? You just don't count the colors, right?
In which London are you seeing rainbows regularly?
To be fair though, when you think of rainbows, you don't actually always see all the 7 colors. So I give you that. Sometimes, depending on where you are, if you are, you might not all see it. So I'll give it to you. So you got 5, Remel. 5.
Out of 5. Let's not forget 5 out of 5.
Yeah, if you want to look at it like that. But then on other shows, some people got like 9, and then it's like, yeah. So you're good. You're just
actually, sorry. Yeah. I just want to say this is a reflection on your reading, not my answers.
I love it. On my own show, I get insulted. This is great. This is great.
I'm just saying, you read it perfectly. However, we could have done it a bit more pacey.
A bit quicker. I know. This is the problem of interviewing professional interviewers. Right? All right, so 5, which is not bad. At the end of the season, you'll find out exactly where you are. Maybe everyone is not as good, and then you'll be on top. But very much doubt it. But if you don't win, it's my fault. Okay, I'll put my hands up.
That's fine.
Now you touched on something earlier, Remel. You touched on something being female, black in the Royal Albert Hall. It was very different for you. Unconventional, I think, is the term you used. Now tell me, what is it like being in the media, in the spotlight, in the industry as a black female?
Yeah, I think just to kind of answer that point about me being in the Royal Albert Hall, like that's not the unconventional thing, and I want everyone to normalize that. Anyone from the arts is entitled to be in those spaces. But I think because I've spent so many years being associated with UK music in particular, grime, rap, being associated with like platforms like Link Up TV and like I Love Live, where it's all like acoustic rather than like orchestral. That's why people wouldn't assume that I would have an interest in, the classical arts. So that's where it was me kind of also stepping out of my own comfort zone. Like, like I said, I was a rave host, I was a live music host, not the classics. But as I've got older and as my interests have changed, I've realized that I want to step out of my comfort zone. I want to be a professional. I want to be, I want to excel. I want to be challenged. But then there's that typecast that we get, that, oh, you're the urban girl, oh, you're the black music girl, oh, you do really good at talking to rappers, carry on. And it's like, yeah, why must I only do that? And that's the thing, like, fortunately, Capital Extra is in a position where, black music is excelling. But even if we were just talking about pop and the charts, I'd happily be there because I enjoy delivering and bringing news and excitement and entertainment to people. So regardless of what music, I mean, obviously, I'm not saying I'd rule it out. Like, I'm not saying I'd rather do pop than what we're playing. But just to say that my passion is the presenter side of it, not always just what the content is. So I feel like over the years, I've had to kind of encourage people to book me for other things. I've had to encourage, let people know that I have other skills, let people know that I'm not just what they think I am. Like, assumption is just one of the worst things. And people assume I have no other interests when, that's even in terms of music, like my favorite genre is house music. A lot of people don't know that, but I don't get the opportunity to play that on Capital Extra. It doesn't mean I don't want to be on Capital Extra. It's just that opportunity hasn't risen. So yeah, it is hard challenging the social associations of black people like these black things.
Yeah. Now, because obviously there's going to be a lot of people that look up to Remel London as that, wow, she's been able to do it, so surely I can do it. What advice would you give to the person that is now starting in the industry where, I'm sorry to say, it seems like, or people have this view that, if you're black, you will struggle. Maybe it's true. Maybe you can tell me more about, you're black, you will naturally struggle to get into potentially radio, TV because of the color of your skin. You're female, so potentially you might, as a woman, you might struggle to get into TV and stuff like that as well. What advice would you give to someone that is trying to get into that?
First of all, I've got to say, like, don't watch what anyone else is saying about you. Like, I've been told that dark skin isn't in, or they're not looking for, what you've got to offer. They're not looking for that, or they've already got one black girl. They don't need another one. And it's kind of like, like, really? Because did you tell Fern and Holly that they can't each have a job because you're both white, you're both blonde, no one ever stopped you. In fact, you hosted shows together. So what's the problem? So that's where it's kind of like, breaking down the systemic problems of not wanting to try new talent. So for me, I'm going to say to anyone that's new talent, don't listen to what they say. Keep excelling. Be so good that they can't ignore you. Like, always push forward. Whatever you're passionate about, always show that. Whatever ideas you have, even if no one supports you, find your own support system and create your own show like you've done. Like, you're a perfect example of someone creating their own show. And usually what happens is, like, when, again, like I said, be so good they can't ignore you. When your show is popping, they have to accept it. It's like, look at Mo Gilligan. Like, he was clearly showing that there is a demand for his content. So he gets sketch shows, he gets his own TV show. That is a perfect example of, what? They didn't even know that they needed him. Now he's booked and busy on every network. So he showed them how much people love him. And then now the TV shows are begging him, please, it's lockdown, do quarantine games.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? A TV station sees you do something on Instagram and they beg you to recreate it for Channel 4. That is mind-blowing. And that's exactly where it is. You persist at doing what you love, doing your own version of things. So new talent, always do what you love, put your ideas on the table, create your own content. You know, we're in a beautiful place where we can do Zoom interviews. You can reach out to anyone in the world right now, like, and televise it if you wanted to. So, you know, or stream it or whatever you want. So go for it, everyone.
And if there was anything that sort of in your career so far, if you had to sort of start again, if there was one thing that you would almost avoid doing or one thing you would have done differently, probably quite a one you might have to think about a bit, what would that be for you?
Don't catch feelings. Don't take things too personal. Like, you know, again, for example, there's places I've been where I've basically been fired, or I don't know, like it's weird, like politely asked to leave.
Yeah.
But it's technically you've been let go kind of thing. And then you end up in the same building seeing all those people again. Don't catch feelings. Don't, do you know what I mean? Like, don't be resentful. Don't, you know, be malicious. Don't speak. Yeah. And I'm saying I haven't done any of these things, but it's just a reminder to myself that don't speak badly of people because you're probably going to see them again. Yeah. And, you know, the industry is pretty small. So my reminder is don't hold on to those feelings because it's pointless holding on to them. Yeah. Like, you know, it's going to be useless when you have to sit and work with that person.
But I'm glad you said that. And one thing that I kind of really, that interests me a lot about you, Remel, is the fact that one person can do multiple things within the same space. And what I mean by that is host live events, radio, and let's talk about voiceovers. So obviously you're also a voiceover actor. Is that what you call it? Voiceover actor, actress, personality?
Artist, because I don't really see myself as an actor, but okay. Artiste, voiceover artiste.
Voiceover artiste. Now, do you know what? I didn't even know that was a thing at one point. I didn't even know that someone's paid to speak on an advert until you actually realize that, oh my God, there's actually someone that says, please mind the gap on adverts, or, you know, to the mayor and the prime minister, every journey matters, or, you know. So tell me a bit about that journey.
I completely got into voiceovers by accident. My first ever radio, like I used to work at a community radio station called Bang FM. It's now the Beat London. And when I worked there, there was a lot of amazing professionals working in that building, people that had, you know, produced for different radio stations, all that kind of stuff. So it was actually the station manager at the time that said, oh, as you're here doing work experience, let's get you to do a voiceover. Let's do this advert. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he was like, oh, that was good. Let's do a few. and then he just ended up getting me to do loads of voiceovers for like the whole station. And I was like, is this a job? And he was basically like, nah. Just he tried to finesse me in it. Nah, small girl, just do your recordings. And then a couple people started, like, you know, asking for favors. Like, oh, Remel, can you do a jingle for me for my radio show? All the other DJs just asking me, yeah, can you do this? I was like, hold on a minute. I've done a few of these now. I'm sure there's a fee that is going to be available. And then someone, I don't know if you remember, there was an artist called Dot Star. He was like a funky house artist. Yeah. His manager at the time reached out to me randomly and he was like, oh, you're a presenter, innit? And I was like, yeah. He was like, oh, do me an advert. Like, and he said, we're doing an advert for his song. And I was like, oh, okay. He was like, yeah, it's going on TV. I said, huh? TV? Okay, cool. So me and my friend started Googling, how much should you charge for voiceovers, blah, 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 blah. I think we ended up charging like £150, like just being like, I don't know. And then he was like, okay, cool. I was like, ah! He said, yes. So that was my first.
House. I got £150.
I was so shocked. I was like, oh, wow, like this is real. So then I look into it more. But it wasn't something that happened straight away.
Yeah.
And then again, going back, after working at Bang, that's when I started doing work experience at Choice FM. And then they asked me to be the official voice of Choice. So same exact scenario. I'm just in the building helping out. And then they said, oh, can we just borrow you for a minute? So I don't know if these producers just hear something and they're like, call her in. So they got me to do a few ads here and then I ended up being the voice of choice for 2 years until it changed over to Capital Extra. And, you know, with that, with Capital Extra being formed, it's a rebrand. When they rebrand, they usually rebrand everything. So they wanted a new voiceover artist, which was obviously heartbreaking to me, but I understood. Again, same thing again. I was like, do you know what? I've actually done a lot. Oh, they agreed. They paid me for that as well, which was great. In the end, I realized I was getting bumped, but it is what it is. But it was,
right?
Yeah, it is what it is. So again, I used my mind, my brain, and I said, I've done a lot. So I asked the producer, listen, can you edit me a show reel? Because I've done a lot. And he was like, yeah, sure. Edited me a 2-3 minute audio reel. Started putting it out there so people knew I was a voiceover artist. So again, I got picked up by BBC Radio 1 Extra, did a bunch of voiceovers for them. And it got to the point where I was like, look, I've done this a lot. Let me look for an agent. And it took a while. It took a long time. This is like 3-4 years of doing this. In 2000 and actually maybe longer, because I got my agent in 2018, I think. So for the last 3 years, I've been doing it professionally, in comparison to what I was before. Like, I guess it was just me just taking on jobs, but now I'm like booked and I'm on their books and they've got all my other sounds, I guess. So documentary style, advert style, funny. I'm listed as like, what was it? There's a few words, I can't even remember what they've called me, but like.
Do you want to give us a little trial? Like, you're going to show us the different voices that you do.
Oh, see, this is the thing. So this is the thing. That's why I say I'm not a voice actor, because a voice actor could be someone that does cartoons and they can throw their voice and all that kind of stuff. Me, I'm a voiceover. Like, it's hard to describe it, but like, I'm more about mood and. Okay. Yeah, it's mood that changes. Mm-hmm. So if it's like, you know, a sports advert, they'll be like, yeah, we want you to, and you know, again, this is where all those weird stereotypes come in, but it's okay because it's your voice. And they'll be like, yeah, we want you to sound really London. And I'm like, all right, I see what you mean. Yeah. And sometimes you're just like, you want me to sound black. Yeah. Yeah. Or you want me to sound urban and all that kind of stuff. We've been through that. But it is what it is, because I'm from North London. I have a London accent. Compared to, you know, someone from Manchester, someone from, you know, Newcastle, I sound different. So I understand that when they say emphasize that Londonness, I'm like, yeah, what's going on? It's your girl Remel London. Like, it's more slangy rather than if it was a professional read for a corporate company. It's going to be very, like, you know, straight to the point. So yeah.
Nice. And I love as well, Remel, before we go as well, but I love the fact that in all that you've learned over the years, from where you started, the challenges, the setbacks, you're now here trying to give back, yeah? So is it the mainstream? Yes. Where you're now trying to give back with your podcast, your seminars, and all the good stuff, and helping people sort of get along. So just very, very quickly, what is the mainstream? What is that going to be for you in the future? What's the plan for that?
Yeah, I aspire for the mainstream to be like, you know, the Edinburgh TV Festival, where you come down and it's a place to network with TV professionals, broadcasters, seasoned with a little bit of like the BET experience, where there's loads of different like events going on at once, where you kind of get an understanding of what the entertainment industry is like. So I see a big crossover of like, you know, the Revolt Music Conference as well, where you've got all these execs sitting on a panel. Like, I definitely have a big vision for it, and I feel like it's something that can live on past me, kind of thing. Like, you know, you know, exactly how the BET experience has or the BET Awards has continued to be like this big honorable night where people can really just think about what it is to be in the entertainment world. So, you know, that's how I see the mainstream. And you get a sense of what it is like to be in that, you know, that upper echelon of entertainment. And why I use the podcast is because it's an example of all the people that I've personally seen go from, you know, like Mo again, going from being a bedroom viral star to having his own TV show. Like, it's just explaining to young people or just anyone that you can have a small idea that ends up being a TV show. that's how you make your way into the mainstream. It's about breaking all the barriers, changing all the rules. How did you break into the mainstream? So that's what I like to give people an insight into.
Remel, if we was in the studio right now, the whole team will be roaring and screaming and shouting. But I'll disappoint you. Oh, Remel, thank you so much. And what's next? Once COVID is done and we're out, where are we going to see you?
Yeah, so I'm so excited. Once we get all the news from Boris about lockdown restrictions being lifted, I'll be back on Sky Arts hosting Unmuted. That's a brand new TV show. So this will be series 2. We've already got the green light that as soon as lockdown's over, we can film. So I'm gonna assume it will be back on air between spring, summer times. I can't wait for that because that means we get to interview loads of people, have fun in the studio, whatnot. Of course, I'm on Capital Extra all the time.
Come with you.
What's that?
Can I come hold your plus one?
Obviously, social distance and that, but yeah, come through. Oh gosh, but yeah, obviously every Saturday as well, on Capital Extra 1 till 4 p.m. And who knows? I'm very, very, very optimistic about this year. I got tipped for being one to watch on the TV this year. So, there's been really positive conversations with like small stuff like that can really trigger some really amazing conversations. So I've been talking to TV production companies and like I said, my ideas that were in my living room, hopefully you'll be seeing them on the TV screen soon. So look out for me. I plan on doing it big this year and beyond. So yeah. It's
gonna happen, Remel. I can't wait to see you at the top because I'm right behind you, coming with you. Yeah. Of
course, calm, man, calm. No, listen, I've got to say, like I said at the start, I love your platform. I love the aesthetic of it. I love your warm charm with it as well. This has been so much. You've actually brought something out of me as well because it was a dirty brown looking day today. So you've uplifted me and I appreciate this platform to be able to share other people's journeys as well. So I wish you all the best as well. Thank you for being a great host. And yeah, everyone watch out for this guy.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Remel. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. You stay right there. Don't you go. MT family. Listen, on that note, I just want to take this time to thank the lovely Remel London for coming on to this show. Even from her house, she's still logged in, guys. It's been a pleasure. If you haven't already, make sure you like, you share, you comment, and you subscribe. I said it right. I'm Mr. Tandoh. This is the beautiful Remel London, and this is the Mr. Tandoh Show. Peace!
Thanks! Hey, it's your girl Remel London, and I absolutely loved being on the Mr. Tandoh Show. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the ting. It was a vibe.